Welcome to part 2 of the Complete Portugal Guide. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, go watch that first. It covers all 4 visa pathways, taxes, citizenship, and the honest challenges. The link is in the description. This video is the practical guide. Cost of living, healthcare, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. The real cost of living by city. Portugal is not one price. It varies tremendously by location. Let's go through the main options Americans choose, with real numbers. Lisbon. Lisbon is Portugal's capital and most expensive city. Cosmopolitan, walkable, full of culture, and with the largest expat community. It also has the tightest rental market and the highest prices. A one-bedroom apartment in the city centre averages $1,300 to $1,650 per month. Outside the centre, neighbourhoods like Moraria, Almada, or Setúbal nearby, you can find one-bedrooms for $1,000 to $1,200. A two-bedroom in the centre runs $2,000 to $2,450. Groceries in Lisbon can run $275 to $390 per month for one person. Portugal's supermarket chains, Pingo Doce, Lidl, Continente, are genuinely affordable. Shopping locally and seasonally keeps costs low. Budget approximately $120 to $165 per month for electricity, water, and gas. Internet runs $28 to $50 per month for high-speed fibre. A monthly Lisbon metro and bus pass runs about $45. Most neighbourhoods are walkable. Many expats don't own a car. When it comes to eating out, a traditional Prato do Dia lunch, the daily special, runs $11 to $17, including a drink and coffee. A dinner for two at a mid-range restaurant, $45 to $67. All in, Lisbon's single-person budget, $2,000 to $2,750 per month. A couple, $3,100 to $3,900. Porto. Porto is Portugal's second city, more raw, more authentic, and notably cheaper than Lisbon. A younger expat and digital nomad community. Less polished. More character. A one-bedroom in the city centre runs $880 to $1,220 per month. In connected suburban areas, Matosinhos, Gaia, Paranhos, $550 to $835. For groceries, $275 to $390 per month. Utilities, $110 to $145 per month. A monthly metro pass around $39. All in, Porto's single-person budget, $1,650 to $2,450 per month. A couple, $2,450 to $3,300. The Algarve, Portugal's southern coast. 300 days of sunshine per year. The largest concentration of English-speaking expats in Portugal. Coastal towns like Vila Moura run expensive. Inland towns like Loulé, Silves, and Tavira offer much better value. A one-bedroom in a coastal town runs $1,000 to $1,550 per month. In inland Algarve towns, $665 to $1,000. If you're moving permanently, secure a 12-month lease. Seasonal short-term rentals spike 20 to 40% in summer. A car is essentially necessary in the Algarve. Public transport outside Faro is limited. Budget $165 to $278 per month for car costs. All in, Algarve single-person budget, $1,775 to $2,650 per month. A couple, $2,650 to $3,550. Smaller cities and interior Portugal. Cities like Coimbra, Évora, Aveiro, Viseu, and Braga offer a genuinely high quality of life at prices that will genuinely surprise Americans. Coimbra, one of Europe's oldest universities, was founded in 1290. Walkable. Intellectual atmosphere. Growing digital nomad community. For a one-bedroom, $445 to $780 per month. Évora, UNESCO World Heritage City. Roman temple in the town centre. A one-bedroom, $610 to $835 per month. Viseu, northern Portugal. Medieval castle. Quieter pace. A one-bedroom, around $610 to $780 per month. 35% cheaper than Lisbon overall. All in, smaller cities, single-person budget, $1,220 to $1,775 per month. A couple, $1,890 to $2,650. For Americans who don't need to be in a major city, these numbers represent some of the best value in Western Europe. If you want us to go in depth on any specific area, let us know in the comments. Healthcare. This is the section that matters most for a lot of Americans, especially retirees. Portugal has a universal public healthcare system, the SNS. Established in 1979. Portugal ranks 23rd globally in the Numbeo 2025 Healthcare Quality Index. Once you have your residence permit card and register with your local health centre, called a Centro de Saúde, you are issued an SNS user number. From that point, you access primary care, emergency services, hospital treatment, and routine medical support at little to no cost. Most appointments involve a small copay, typically $4 to $8. The SNS is good, particularly for emergency care and routine treatment. Waiting lists for specialist consultations and non-urgent surgery can be long. Rural areas have fewer specialists than Lisbon and Porto. English-speaking doctors are common in private hospitals and in expat-heavy areas. Less common in rural health centres. Most expats carry both, SNS for primary care and private insurance for faster specialist access. Basic private plans start at $45 to $67 per month. Comprehensive coverage, around $134 per month. Private health insurance is required when you apply for any long-stay visa. Once you have your residence permit, you register with the SNS and decide how much private coverage to maintain. Here's the American comparison that puts this in perspective. A basic private health insurance plan in Portugal costs what most Americans pay per month just in copays and deductibles, not premiums. For Americans currently spending $500 to $1,500 a month on US health insurance, the Portugal healthcare math is one of the most compelling numbers on this entire list. Where should Americans actually live? Choose Lisbon if you want the biggest expat community and English language infrastructure. You want world-class restaurants, culture, and urban energy. You're working remotely and want co-working spaces and fast connectivity. Budget isn't the primary driver. Choose Porto if you want Lisbon's energy at lower prices. You prefer a more authentic, less polished city feel. You're a remote worker or creative type. You want beach access and wine country within 30 minutes. Choose the Algarve if sunshine and outdoor lifestyle are non-negotiable. You're retired and want an established English-speaking expat community. You're comfortable owning a car. Choose a smaller city if cost of living is a priority. You want a slower pace and a more authentic Portuguese experience. You're willing to put in the work on language. Banking for Americans. The honest guide. This is one of the most complained about parts of the entire Portugal relocation process. Here is the core problem, and it is worth understanding before you start. The US government's FATCA law requires foreign banks to report on American clients' accounts to the IRS. That compliance burden is expensive and administratively complex. As a result, many Portuguese banks simply decline American applicants. Not because you've done anything wrong, just because you're more expensive for them to service. The banks that work well for Americans, Novo Banco, consistently cited as one of the most American-friendly banks in Portugal. Established FATCA processes. Processing takes 2 to 3 weeks for Americans. Remote account opening available via power of attorney. Over 350 branches. Millennium BCP, Portugal's largest private bank with over 695 branches. International banking divisions in Lisbon and Porto with English-speaking staff. Generally requires an in-person visit, but smooth process for non-residents. The most recommended all-round bank for long-term life in Portugal. Bison Bank, Fully digital onboarding via video KYC, no power of attorney needed. Particularly recommended for golden visa applicants. Digital bridge options. Use Wise immediately for transferring money from the US, the most cost-effective way to move dollars to euros without exchange rate markups. Keep Revolut for everyday spending to avoid foreign transaction fees. Based on what works best for most Americans, here is the setup we recommend. Wise for transfers. Millennium BCP or Novo Banco as your official Portuguese bank. Revolut for daily spending. That combination covers 95% of what you'll need. Start the bank account process before you arrive. Get your NI fee first, remotely through a Portuguese lawyer. The account needs to be active and funded before your visa application is complete. Can you work for a Portuguese employer? The short answer is yes, and here is what that actually means. D7 visa holders, once you have your residence permit card, have the right to work in Portugal, including for local Portuguese employers. D8 digital nomad visa holders are set up to work remotely for employers or clients outside Portugal. If you want to work for a Portuguese employer on the D8, you would typically need to transition to a different residency status. That said, here is the practical reality for most Americans considering local work. Portuguese salaries average approximately $1,530 to $1,770 per month gross. Most Americans with professional backgrounds earn considerably more working remotely for US clients or employers. Local employment makes most sense for Americans seeking full cultural integration or working in fields like education, hospitality, or language instruction. And one important tax consideration before you make that decision. Working for a Portuguese employer means paying Portuguese income tax and contributing to Portuguese Social Security. Combined with your continued US filing obligations, local employment requires careful planning with professionals who know both systems. How to actually find housing. We've covered what rent costs. Now let's talk about how to actually find a place. There are two main platforms you need to know about. Idealista, Portugal's dominant real estate platform. Available in English. Start here. IMO Virtual, Portugal's second major platform. Some listings appear here that don't appear on Idealista. Check both. Before you start searching, here are the realities of the rental market. In Lisbon and Porto, good properties move fast. Many landlords prefer tenants they can meet in person. Searching remotely puts you at a disadvantage. Most landlords will ask for the following before they consider you as a tenant. A Portuguese NI fee number. Have this before you start searching. Proof of income, bank statements, pension documentation, or employment contracts. First and last month's rent as a deposit, sometimes more. A minimum 12-month lease agreement for D7 visa purposes. Here is the approach that works best for most Americans making this move. Book short-term accommodation for your first 4 to 6 weeks. Arrive in Portugal. Search for rentals in person. Visit properties before signing anything. Do not sign a long-term lease remotely without seeing the property. One critical check before signing: always verify the actual internet speed at the property, not just the building. In older buildings, internal wiring can limit achievable speeds even when fiber is available to the street. Check the speed on fast.com before you commit. Short-term furnished rentals in Lisbon and Porto run $1,500 to $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom, significantly more than long-term rates. Budget for this transition period when planning your move costs. Internet and remote work. Infrastructure. Portugal's internet infrastructure is excellent. It ranks in the top quarter of countries globally for both fixed and mobile speeds. In Lisbon and Porto, median fixed broadband speeds exceed 150 megabits per second. There are 4 main providers to know about. MEO, widest coverage, especially in rural areas. Covers roughly 40% of fixed connections nationally. Fiber plans start around $33 per month on promotional pricing, rising to around $50 after the promotional period. Vodafone Portugal, best for English language customer support. The most 5G base stations in the country. NOS, strong urban coverage, competitive pricing. Covers about 33% of fixed connections nationally. DG NOO, budget option with more limited coverage. Most plans come with 24-month contracts. Early termination fees are real. Ask about shorter-term options if you're unsure of your timeline. Co-working spaces, Second Home and Co-work Central in Lisbon are well-known options. Porto has multiple strong spaces, particularly in the Baixa area. For day passes, budget $15 to $25. For monthly memberships, budget $150 to $250. Your driving license. This is something a lot of Americans find out too late, so pay attention. The United States is on Portugal's recognized country list as an OECD member. Your US driver's license is valid for driving in Portugal when you first arrive. Here is exactly how it works. As a tourist, not yet a resident, you can drive on your US license for up to 185 days. Once you obtain legal residency, you have 90 days to submit your exchange request to IMT, Portugal's Road Transport Authority. During those 90 days, you can continue driving on your US license. If you submit the exchange request within 90 days of residency, no driving test required. You exchange your US license for a Portuguese license through a paperwork process. Here is exactly what you need to complete the exchange. Your valid US driver's license. A driving record abstract from the DMV of your last US state, apostilled. Proof of residency in Portugal. A completed application through the IMT online portal or in person. If you miss the 90-day window, you can still exchange without a driving test for up to 2 years from residency. However, you cannot legally drive during that waiting period. If you miss the 2-year window entirely, the full Portuguese driving test will be required, both theory and practical. Processing time is typically 4 to 8 weeks. A Portuguese license gives you driving rights across all 26 EU countries. Apply within the 90-day window. It's straightforward when done on time. Bringing your pets. Portugal is extremely pet-friendly, but getting your pet there requires planning well in advance. Step 1 is the microchip, and this step has a critical order requirement. Your pet must have an ISO-compliant 15-digit microchip. This must be implanted before the rabies vaccination. This order is critical. If your pet gets the rabies vaccine first, the vaccination does not count under EU rules, and you have to start over. Many US pets have a 10-digit chip, not ISO compliant. Check with your vet before you do anything else. Step 2 is the rabies vaccination, and timing matters here too. After the microchip, your pet needs a rabies vaccination. If this is a primary vaccination, you must wait 21 days before travel to the EU. The vaccination must have been given no more than 1 year before travel. The US is classified as a low-risk country. No rabies titer test required. Step 3 is the EU health certificate, and this one has a hard deadline. A health certificate completed by a USDA-accredited veterinarian issued no more than 10 days before your travel date. That 10-day window is a hard deadline. Step 4 is the DGAV pre-arrival notification. Portugal requires 48 hours advance notice before your pet enters the country. Submit it online through the DGAV portal. Step 5 happens when you land. The airport veterinary check. Have all documents printed and organized. Microchip certificate, vaccination records, health certificate, and APHIS endorsement. On the airline side, here is what you need to know. Most airlines allow small pets in cabin. Larger pets travel as cargo. Policies vary significantly by airline. Book your pet's spot at the same time as your ticket. Spots are limited. Once you and your pet have arrived in Portugal, register your pet with a local vet who can issue an EU pet passport, which simplifies future travel within Europe significantly. Start the pet process at least 3 months before your travel date. Between microchipping, vaccination timing, scheduling a USDA-accredited vet, APHIS endorsement, and booking airline pet transport, last-minute arrangements consistently cause serious problems. What does the actual move cost? Every video covers monthly cost of living. Almost none of them cover the one-time cost of actually getting there. starting with visa and document preparation. Portuguese immigration lawyer, $1,500 to $3,000 depending on scope. NI fee registration, $100 to $300 through a lawyer. APA-style fees for US documents, $20 to $100 per document. Typically 3 to 6 documents need apostilling. Health insurance for visa application, $500 to $1,500 for the first year. Consulate visa application fee, approximately $105. IMA residence permit fees, approximately $370 combined. Next, bank account setup. Initial deposit to open Portuguese bank account, approximately $295. D7 savings requirement transferred to Portuguese account, approximately $13,000. That money stays in your account. It is yours. It is not a fee. It is not spent. It sits there as your required balance. So when you're building your total budget, keep that number separate from your move costs. Then there are the housing setup costs once you arrive. Short-term accommodation for first 4 to 6 weeks, $1,500 to $4,000. Security deposit on long-term rental, typically 1 to 2 months rent. First month's rent up front. Utility connection fees and initial bills, $200 to $400. And finally, shipping and flights. A single large shipping container from the US East Coast to Lisbon typically runs $3,000 to $5,000. Most expats recommend shipping less than you think you need. Portugal has excellent furniture and household goods at reasonable prices. One-way flights, $600 to $1,200 per person. Put it all together, and here is your total realistic one-time move budget. Minimal approach, $8,000 to $12,000 for a single person. Comfortable approach with professional support throughout, $15,000 to $25,000 for a single person. And if the golden visa is your route, those figures do not include your investment minimum. The 90-day Schengen rule during IMA processing. This is one of the most confusing parts of the Portugal relocation process. Here is what happens. You submit your visa application at the consulate, get approved, travel to Portugal, book your IMA appointment, and wait 12 to 24 months for your residence permit card. During that entire waiting period, you are legally a resident in Portugal. You have the right to live there, but your physical residence permit card has not yet been issued. Here is where the complication comes in. Until you have your physical residence permit card, you remain on tourist status for Schengen area travel purposes. The standard Schengen rule, 90 days in any 180-day period, still applies if you leave Portugal and travel to other Schengen countries. What this means practically, you can live in Portugal without any problem. But a trip to Spain, France, or Italy counts against your 90-day Schengen allowance. This catches Americans off guard who expected free European travel from day one. The good news is, there is a solution. Once your IMA appointment is complete and your application is active, you can request a temporary travel document from IMA demonstrating your pending residency status. Coordinate this with your immigration lawyer. They handle it regularly. Once your residence permit card finally arrives, and it will, full Schengen freedom. Unlimited travel throughout 26 European countries. Finding your community in Portugal. Moving to a new country alone is one of the hardest parts of relocation. Portugal has a well-established and growing American expat community. Here's where to find it. Online, before you arrive. Start with Facebook groups. These are the most active and immediately useful. Americans in Portugal. Americans and friends in Lisbon. Expats in the Algarve. Porto expats, over 46,000 members. Ask questions, read threads, and get a sense of what people are navigating. Internations.org, active chapters in Lisbon, Porto, and the Algarve. Reddit, r/Portugal and r/Lisbon for honest opinions and local recommendations. On the ground, after you arrive. Meetup.com. Search new in Lisbon, Lisbon. Language exchange, Porto Internationals. Regular in-person events, bars, hikes, dinners. One of the fastest ways to meet people. Co-working spaces, the single fastest way to meet people organically as a remote worker. Second Home in Lisbon runs regular community events. You will meet more people in 1 month of co-working than in 3 months of a home office. Language exchange events at bars and cafes, one of the best ways to meet both locals and fellow expats simultaneously. AmCham Portugal, for professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners. International Women in Portugal, large American membership, regular events across Lisbon and Cascais. And here is the honest truth about building community in Portugal. Portuguese culture is warm, but friendships develop slowly compared to American instant friendliness. Invest in learning the language. Even basic Portuguese opens doors that remain closed to English-only expats. The Americans who feel most at home after 2 years are almost always the ones who made genuine effort to integrate. That is the complete practical guide to moving to Portugal as an American. If you missed part 1, visas, taxes, citizenship, and the honest challenges, be sure to watch it. The link is in the description. The free step-by-step reference sheet is also in the description. Every checklist, cost estimate, bank recommendation, and key contacts. Where are you in the process? Drop it in the comments. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe. This is part of the Can Americans Actually Move Here series, covering one country at a time. Until next time, safe travels.